When Daniel was 10 years old, he sat in the third row of a quiet classroom, gripping his pencil a little too tightly as his teacher, Mrs. Carter, walked between the desks handing back math tests, and when she reached him, she barely paused before saying in a calm, almost bored voice, "Daniel, you're just not smart enough for this," then moved on without another word, but that single sentence followed him for years like a shadow he couldn't outrun, because Daniel believed teachers were supposed to be right, so if she said it, it must be true. And from that day on, he started seeing himself through that label, watching his best friend.
Alex raised his hand confidently while he kept his eyes down, listening to classmates talk about big dreams while he quietly adjusted his own to be smaller, safer, and less embarrassing, telling himself he wasn't lazy or afraid, just realistic. And as he grew older, the lie matured with him, showing up when he avoided advanced classes, when he laughed off his own ideas before anyone else could, when he chose paths that required less risk and less belief, and even when his younger sister Maya once
asked him for help with homework and said, "You're really good at explaining things." He brushed it off with a joke because compliments didn't fit the story he'd accepted. And years later, as an adult working an unremarkable job, Daniel met people like Ryan, who seemed effortlessly confident, and Leah, who spoke up in meetings without hesitation. And he told himself they were just born smarter, born different, born lucky, while he stayed quiet, blending into the background. Until one afternoon,
Everything shifted when a critical problem hit the team and panic filled the room. Managers arguing, ideas failing, silence growing heavier. And Daniel noticed a small detail no one else had mentioned, something obvious to him but dangerous to say out loud. And his coworker Emma caught his expression and whispered, "You're thinking something, just say it." And for a moment, the old voice screamed inside him, reminding him of that classroom, that sentence, that label. But something weaker, yet
braver pushed back, and he spoke, hesitant but clear, explaining his idea step by step, expecting dismissal, but instead the room went quiet. They tried it, and it worked, and Ryan stared at him and said, "How did you even think of that?"
And in that instant, Daniel felt something crack. Not the room, not the moment, but the lie he'd carried for decades, because the evidence no longer matched the belief. And that night he replayed his life differently, realizing how many times he'd misunderstood his own potential. How often he'd stopped, not because he couldn't learn, but because he didn't believe he was allowed to. And he remembered Mrs.
Carter again, not with anger, but with clarity, finally seeing that she'd made a judgment, not a prophecy. And over the following months, Daniel began testing this new possibility, asking questions instead of assuming ignorance, learning skills he once avoided, letting himself fail without interpreting it as proof of stupidity. And when he struggled, Emma reminded him, struggling means you're learning, not that you're incapable. And slowly, painfully, the old story lost its grip, replaced by a new one that said intelligence grows, confidence is built, and identity is not defined by one careless sentence. And the most powerful moment came when Maya, now older, asked him what changed, and Daniel smiled and said, "I stopped believing something that was never proven." Realizing then that the most dangerous lies aren't shouted insults, but quiet labels we accept without question, the ones that shape our choices, shrink our dreams, and steal years of our lives. And if you're listening to
this and recognize a Daniel inside yourself, carrying words someone spoke long ago, ask yourself this: what if they were wrong?
And what kind of life is waiting for you on the other side of that lie? And if this story resonated with you, like the video, share it with someone who might need it. Subscribe for more motivational stories like this, and tell me in the comments what belief you're ready to challenge today.